Yo, this is a motherfucker who needs no introduction. You are watching Breaking Records Radio.
All right, check it out, Breaking Records Radio, and the place to be. You know what it is, your host, Maloney, and I got a very, very, very special guest on the Zoom with me right now. I'm used to saying the phone. I'm so used to that. Got the homie Junk, man. How you been doing, bro?
I'm good, bro. Blessed, man.
Your audio's cutting out a little bit.
Hang on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. That's better. That's better.
Okay, I guess I got this little IKEA thing is trash. Never mind. It covers up the mic. It's sunny.
Oh, okay.
Look at this shit. It's mad sunny out here. It's good. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah. We got some sun here in the city today, man, but it's fucking cold as shit though.
Yeah. No, I understand that. Are you in Toronto?
Yeah. So East End Toronto.
Yeah.
Probably like when you were here for that last show, it's probably like 25-minute drive from there.
Yeah, I mean Toronto's fucking so big. There's cities.
Yeah.
There's cities within cities out there. It's nuts.
Yeah, man. Actually, probably we're kind of close to where you and Stitch would have shot that video, the Ragu.
Yeah.
You know where you're out by the water and you can see like the city and shit.
Yeah. What's that club called there on the water? Cabana or something? No.
Yeah. Cabana Pool Bar.
Yeah. Cabana Pool Bar. Yeah, okay. That was a while.
That one or Yeah. That's where I think you guys were at. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we were. Hell yeah, man.
Yo, man. So you've been killing this shit for a long time, my man. I want to go back through the whole history and stuff, but I like to always kind of start it off with something current. So first and foremost, this damn camera, man, like that. But first and foremost, the relaunch of Stealth Bomb.
Big relaunch, big roster update, big man. I don't. I'm blessed to be part of the squad again. Blessed to be part of the revamp, bro. I think it's safe to say it's on an underground rap label in Canada. I don't think there's a better roster that's more lethal and more well-versed than Stealth Bomb, really. I mean, I can say that with all honesty and confidence. As a label, there's so many crazy artists on there, you know what I mean? And so I'm blessed to have a little equal share of representation in there, with some heavy hitters and some crazy, amazing, talented rappers and artists. So that's blessed for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I like how, with the relaunch, it actually is like a bit of a rebrand and a relaunch. Like there's a lot of new talent on the label. Like I know you and Snack have worked closely together for years, but for the most part, there's a lot of people who weren't necessarily in that Stealth Bomb family per se, going back some years.
No, for sure. 100%. It's basically Stealth Bomb 2.0. Really. It's a whole rebrand, relaunch, new look, new logo design. So everything, as soon as you start making new logos, that means we're rebranding fully, obviously. So it's like Nike changing their logo, you know what I mean? Or Adidas, same shit. Just new direction. But yeah, man, I mean, Stitch is insane, bro. So, I mean, it's one of the dopest rappers to ever come out of this country. So him joining there, me just, being aligned with that. Snack is OG status. I mean, one of the greats to ever do it. All independent. Messiah is crazy. He's sitting on so much material. He's absolutely insane. Pen work. Young singer Nicole McKenzie. Who else is on this thing, man? Young Sin, Jacqueline.
He's OG.
Oh, Young Sin and Snack are the reason why I even found out who like Stomp Down was. It's because of Brass Tacks and Evil and shit. So because they were the first people to go over to Spain and just like show up there and just do tours. You know what I mean? They like, let's get a plane ticket, go out there with a video camera and start shooting. And then they started putting it all out. That's like, they got on the YouTube wave so early. And just, with the graffiti and the rap and them just going over there. Those was the first dudes that I personally kind of knew that were going over to like Europe and doing shit with other rappers and other graffiti artists. So definitely Young Sin is an OG for sure. So, yeah, man, I'm stoked. There's a little bit of older generation, a little bit of newer generation in this. And Known, of course, he's like represents the Known Boy music That's my guy.
Yeah,
He obviously represents the younger generation. But he's such an amazing artist too, man. So it's good. It's very well versed. It has a little bit of pop, a little bit of hard rap, a little bit of like more, you know, punchline heavy stuff, dark, a little bit of lighter stuff. So it really has the full spectrum, which is really is important to have a bit of everything, not be like one dimensional, you know, as a unit of a bunch of people as a roster, in my opinion. So I'm blessed, man.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's one thing I actually found interesting and dope about it too, was that, you know, because going back, like, you know, a lot of the stomped down associated music, like there is diversity, but a lot of it is still very like catering to underground hip hop heads. You know what I mean? So I kind of
catering to that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I did like how when I seen like the refreshed roster, how there was a little bit of diversity there. Like it's really like more kind of like a label situation opposed to just like a home for like, you know, underground hip hop.
And that's that's what I wanted with the rebrand. Going back to the label, I wanted that. You know what I mean? I needed to be modernized and more. I don't know, just more able to reach multiple avenues of demographics as opposed to just, you know. And Stomp Down did their thing, and you know, it's like obviously they conquered that corner of the market heavily, but you know. Yeah. I don't want to have just one door to walk through. I want multiple doors. You know what I mean? So that was like, I think the whole idea of the rebrand and relaunch, man.
Yeah. And it's a perfect home for you too, I think, because you are very multi-dimensional as an artist as well too. Like you don't just fit in that one little bracket. Like you cover so many different grounds as an artist. So it's like,
thanks, bro. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I feel like, I totally agree. I don't like doing one. Some people are like, man, which is kind of a strong suit. There's like, I don't know what, like you spit one verse and then your second verse is completely different. Like I even changed my voice, you know, where I like change the tone of my voice. Like, and that's not with like a studio trick. Just like, they're like, I thought it was two different people from verse to verse. It's like, I change my style within the song sometimes even. So it's like, I just like to, you know, I like to be versatile and just keep it fresh for myself. So it's definitely a good fit. You know what I mean? You're totally right.
Yeah, no, and I think that's dope too how you do that, because I've noticed that, and not many artists can pull that off where they give you kind of one cadence and flow for the beginning, and then you come in and it's a different voice inflection on the second verse, a whole different cadence. Like there's not a whole lot of artists that can pull that off and actually have it come out dope. You know what I mean? A lot of times.
Bro. Thank you.
You know, because I've heard some cats try it and it comes out and it's kind of like this sounds like you recorded this for two different joints. Like this just sounds off. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you do have the ability to pull that off.
Thanks, bro. No, I've been trying to just keep doing it. Every album, every song, I try to keep fresh. Like I never want to, like I had like, you know, my boom bap phase, where I did that, then I went from directly into the antithesis of that, where it's like, what the fuck, man? Why are you doing this wavy shit? I'm like, because I want to do it. Why wouldn't I do it? Why do I want to make the same thing over and over? I'm not going to take the same jump shot all game long. You know what I mean? I'm gonna take it to the rim and fucking slam on a motherfucker or whatever. So that's like
100.
It keeps it more fun. If you just do one style repeatedly, it just gets old, in my opinion. Like, Griselda, love them. I'm already over it. You know what I mean? And I'm not even knocking, dude. I love Griselda. I love Benny. I love Conway. I love everyone, even the dudes that are on the come up, Rick Hyde and Heem and all these dudes. They're nuts, and I bump their joints. But it's like,
we had Rick Hyde on the show actually recently.
Amazing. But you know what I mean? It's like I already see people are like, oh, it's always the same thing, or like, why don't they change it up? And it's like, that's also whack, because it's like, if people are dope at something, do it. I mean, it's on the artist to do whatever they want, whatever works for them. But I can already find myself like almost like knowing how it's going to be every joint that's like dropping it, which I still fuck with. Like they're on my playlist. They're on one of the because I love the bars, you know what I mean? But when I play it around other people, they're like, oh, this sounds exactly the same. So I can hear the banter and the rhetoric already. Like that's what happens when people master a style and they just keep doing it and doing it. That sadly is the fucking banter. But then when you change and they're like, why are you changing? You should have said it's never good enough for anyone. You know what I mean? Like Eminem changed his shit, went all corny and weird, and then he got blasted by it. And then he went pop and this and that's like, he can't make the Marshall Mathers LP 10 albums in a row. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know what the right answer is. But for me, I like to just keep it versatile and change up as much as I can without being corny. So
100%. And actually, one thing I think, that, because I know you've been in the game for years. Like, I know you put out your, I believe it's your first mixtapes. You broke to buy beats 10 years ago now.
This guy's really out here digging, eh? Word up. Respect to that.
Word up, man. But I think one thing that's powerful though is like, because you came across my radar in about, I'd say 2017, I think it was. I think you had just come off touring with, I'm not sure who you were with up here, but it might have been Locksmith or whatever, or somebody else. Who was it?
You know what? It wouldn't have been like, are you talking a Toronto show you came through or something?
Not that one. That was your headliner. So that was the first time I think you came around. You did a headlining tour through here, but before that, you came and made some noise.
I don't think it was with Locksmith, bro, because the Locksmith show got canceled the day we showed up in Toronto because the promoter dipped and did some funny boy business and what just wasn't even around. Literally wasn't available to contact. No one knew what was going on, so we had to cancel the show because it wasn't even. It was a disaster. Anyways, it would have been with Snack. It probably would have been with Snack at
okay.
Either at Rock Pit or some shit like that. Probably Rock Pile.
Yeah.
Rock Pile. My bad. Yeah.
So that, but to go back though, it's like you've been doing it for years, as many artists have. By the time they kind of come across your radar, a lot of times people don't realize this guy's been grinding for, a decade plus, easy. But I think one thing that was kind of smart with what you did, because I know to you as an artist, you're so many years in, it doesn't seem like you're doing it from the jump. But from an outsider looking in, since I've heard of you, you have pushed the envelope. Like, you haven't just given one solid, like, this is junk. That you have been versatile. And it kind of goes to the point you're saying. I think that's very important to do and to test those waters early because, and this is no disrespect to Snack, because Snack's a friend of the show. He's been on here many times. I love Snack's music. But I don't want to hear Snack come out now and rap on like trap beats. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to take in Snack's album, I almost have something I'm expecting, I want. It's important to differentiate that line in your career early on. You know what I mean? And so I think that it was really just going to the point of what you were saying, but like, it's a very smart thing what you did, because you gave people, as they were coming into your world and learning about you, you already let them know from rip, like, you're not going to know what to expect necessarily. Like, I'm always hitting you with something different, and I think it's a very important thing for young artists to do, because once you get stuck in a box and you gain a fan base, it's exactly like you said. You have people like, oh man, why are you doing this wavy shit? Why are you doing this? Like, I want you to go back to the boom bap. It's like, well, I already did the boom bap. You know what I mean? I'm trying to grow and I'm trying to be artistic. You know what I mean?
No, that's cool that you say that, man. That's because sometimes I feel like it might I just do it for myself, but sometimes I feel like, are people noticing this, or they just think I'm like, I don't know what I want? You know what I mean? So it's like, but that's cool that you say that, because I think it'll build longevity in the long run, where it's like, 5 years from now, I can just do whatever I want. And it'll be like, well, that is what Junk does. You know what I mean? He's just like, he's all over the place, but in a good sense, not in like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's constantly pushing. Sometimes I gain fans, but I say that it's like, if you don't like my last record, put a different one on. You know what I mean? Because I got different styles all over the place. So it's like, that's what I do.
Exactly, man. And there's actually, I wish I could remember the artist, because it might kind of almost makes it redundant to bring it up. But there's an artist that I heard in an interview pretty recently, like an up and coming cat. And they actually said, because they had talked to Jay-Z, and the interviewer asked them, like, oh, what was some advice Jay-Z gave you? And they're like, some of the best advice in my career. And what they told me is, if you want to do something different, do it now. Because he was like questioning putting out a single because it was kind of left field from his other stuff. He's like, do it now. He's like, the world hasn't discovered you yet. He's like, so now is your time to do it. Because if you let people know now that they don't know what to expect from you, that's going to help you in the future when you don't want to keep being pigeonholed doing the same thing.
There you go. That's what's up.
But so I think that is important. And I think that's to, like I said, we are going to get into the history, but just to keep it on the current tip, because it's parallel with what we're talking about. But Stitch is very much one of those artists too. So when I heard that you two were doing an EP, I'm like, yo, this is gonna be crazy. Like, I don't even know what to expect. And shout outs to the dude Spesh, because that's the homie.
Album, full length album.
Okay, it's a full length album.
It's an album, bro. It was an EP, but then we're like, Snack was actually like, you guys, if you're coming out together as a unit on a project, I think you guys need more songs. So we added another like 4 joints and made it a full album. It was actually Snack's idea to be like, nah, man, I think you two together, people want to hear more, you know? So it's like, just do more work and I think it'll go longer. We can stretch it longer. So it was like, and then we did these other joints, and the other joints we did are so different and opened up such a different portal of like within our own genre, which is like, it was a really good call, make an album, because we added joints that were completely different and it wouldn't have been received differently, I think. Like, this is a full on every spectrum. That's all I can say, bro. It's a masterpiece to me. It's my favorite piece of music I've ever made.
Really?
And we did it. Yeah, bro. Like, and I've made a lot of projects, songs.
I was going to say, that's saying a lot.
This is the best I've felt about a full body of work. Not just on my own, like a full body of work. And we did it all over the internet. Like, I only met Stitch one time before we made this album, and that was shooting No Ragu in Toronto right before the show.
That was the day when that's when I opened up for you and we were supposed to do the interview and all that shit.
Yeah, it happened. That was a wild. I was pretty angry I was very angry that day. That night.
Were you?
Yeah, on the promotional side of things, I was pretty pissed at how things were handled. Like, I went up at 1:40 in the morning. So there was like 30 people left. And it was like, and then, I don't listen, 20 artists on the bill is like hard. I get it. You know what I mean? Like, who am I? Like, whatever. Promoters hustle the way they got to hustle. But I was just like, dude, I'm out here. It's 1:40 in the morning and now I'm up and it's like a weekday. Not a good look. So I was pretty angry about that, so. But anyways, it's all good. It's been beefs and whatnot. Differences have been squashed, so it's all good. But yes, that was the day. That was the first day I met Stitch.
Crazy.
So
that's crazy.
And then we made this whole album over voice notes, over like voice memos and voice notes, sending shit back and forth. I'll do this, add this here, take that bar out, whatever. It was crazy. Never did an album like that, but it sounds like we were literally in the booth together, side by side, like, because the way so meticulously crafted and everything transitions into one another. I mean, shout out to Jamie Hughes, Sauce God engineer, one of the greatest engineers in the country. He put that together. He made it sound like we were literally in the booth together. So I got to give respect where it's due for sure. Jamie Hughes is a huge integral part of this one, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I veered off. I just.
No.
I feel passionate.
No, not at all.
Project, so.
Not at all. That the whole point of bringing it up is to talk about it. So, like, you're my favorite kind of interview, because you wouldn't believe how many people you get. And you're like, so, like, let's talk about this. And they're like, yeah. And you're like, okay. You got anything else to say about it? Like,
you gotta dig. Yeah, you don't gotta dig with me. I'm a pretty open book, man. But yeah, dude, I'm really excited for this.
I think that shows your passion in your artistry too, right? Like, when I interview a cat and they don't really want to elaborate on anything, like, I get it when I'm interviewing an old head and I'm talking about shit that happened 20 years ago. Like, oh, yo, how'd you meet fucking Grandmaster Flash? They're like, oh my God, I've told the story a million times. Like, this is so beyond me. I get it. But when artists are like, still hungry and coming up and they don't want to even talk about themselves, it makes me feel like, do you believe in yourself? You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's like if you're not interested in your own shit, how are you going to convey that interest for others to care about your shit? So I get it.
Exactly. So no, like, you're right on the button with it.
Yeah. Sorry, my battery was low. I had to press on.
That's all good. I know how it is. I'm guessing that's an iPhone, because that's what mine does too.
Yeah, it's an iPhone.
Yeah. Those little fuckers with the stupid boxes popping up and all that. But no, I'm excited to hear the project. Last I heard, it was an EP, so I wasn't even aware that you guys had turned it to a full-length album. And I think that's really dope what you said as well too, because I think with how multi-dimensional Stitch is and how multi-dimensional you are, the fact that you said that this is some of the best music you've ever made, and you guys touched realms you hadn't even tried touching, that with this second batch of songs, I think that's great. Because if I got a project from you two and it was just a bunch of bars over, like, just like da 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 da, it would have been dope. But it would have been, it almost would have been what was expected, but like not. but not what was wanted. You know what I mean? So I'm really glad you said that.
That's a home run, because me and Stitch are like, well, we'll give them a couple joints that are like, whoa, you know, like, okay, this is what people want. Oh, it's Junk and Stitch, they're gonna rap. So yeah, we have that on there. But then we also were like, that's just so predictable. You know what I mean? So let's give them something that like we don't even expect out of one another. And that is the type of shit I think will build an audience further and just like push and really have people tune in. You know what I mean? So, like you said, we didn't want to just, that'd be cool, but you listen to the album maybe once or twice and then it's like, yeah, they did their thing. Obviously we all know Stitch can spit, and then people know I can rap. So it's like, give them the predictable stuff, which is dope, but or give them a little bit of that and then a bunch of other shit that no one would ever expect. Like I find that's more interesting to me and will stand the test of time a bit more, you know?
100%.
So I'm glad you say that, because I know you fuck with the bars, bro, heavy. I know you like rap, good rap. So you saying that, you are like a demographic that is key. You know what I mean? So you saying that means the likelihood of a lot of other people kind of in your same stature of demographic will probably feel the same way, which is dope. So that's a win, you know? Word.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. And that's the thing, you know, I'm a lyrics guy at the end of the day, but you know, at the end of the day too, I've grown to learn that like, there's so many different elements and angles and directions to take hip hop. And it's like, what better am I than the fucking old dude in the 70s saying, you guys are just rapping, or you guys are just talking over disco breaks. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, for sure.
If I'm to say the same thing about what's currently happening now, you know what I mean? Like I'm literally being the guy who almost said hip hop was a trend at one point. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's not cool. And it's like, and one thing about the argument, this is just going off a little bit, you know, I tend to do this when we talk hip hop, I tend to do this a little bit, but there's the constant argument in hip hop where people talk about, lyrics don't matter anymore and all this stuff. And the one thing I've really discovered recently, you know, because I'm a hip hop head, I you know, I'm always doing research. I'm always listening to old shit, interviews with old school cats. I've been on a tear lately listening to these history lessons this Jaquan guy puts up about like Flash and Grandmaster Caz and Mel and just like getting these different like full background stories, right?
You're gonna have to link me that shit.
I will. The shit's super dope. Like it's stuff you already know, but it's like it touches so much more in depth on things you didn't know. It's really cool shit. But all right. And it's just like rap was never about the fucking lyrics, man. It started off in a fucking park jam. Dudes are just saying like, yo, honey, like you looking fly, yo, so-and-so, get your car with the, you know, whoever got the whatever caddy sitting on East 45th in this, you know, like go get your car, there's a ticket on it. And like, you know what I mean? Like who needs weed? Branson's got it. You know what I mean? Like that's what the MC started as. And it wasn't until certain aspects of hip hop came into play, like the message and stuff, where lyrics were really revered more highly. But even you still go back, man, in the 90s, yeah, Nas is remembered. But Nas wasn't selling the most records in 94, bro. No. Illmatic took like what, 3 or 4 years to go platinum. You know what I mean?
Vanilla Ice was selling records.
Exactly, right? And this is the point, I think a lot of people my age who weren't really old enough to discover the 90s while it was happening, look back because things that are well revered nowadays, they look at like that is what was popular then. But it wasn't, man. Gangstar went platinum maybe once, if they even went platinum once. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm trying to say. DJ Premier to us now is the greatest producer of all time. But in the 90s, he wasn't selling the most records. So it's never been about real hip hop. This whole idea that hip hop has died and the mainstream has ruined it, this shit has been the same shit that's been going on since Rapper's Delight, bro.
Yo, facts. You know what, man? And just to add to that, agree 100%. But then the contrary is, it's actually hip hop isn't dead because we're still like, look at okay, maybe Primo and Nas didn't sell the most records back then, but look at them. Look at their careers now. Look what they're doing now. Look how respected. And I mean, Nas is almost a billionaire now because of his rap money that he's made and then invested in fucking, you know, whatever he's got. Yeah. So it's like these people, the Jay-Z's, the Nas's, the Primos, all these people that we're talking about, they're still around. And they're respected more than ever, and they're the GOATs, and they're considered the GOATs of hip hop. And it's like maybe they didn't sell the most, you know what I mean? But they're around. So it's like the business, obviously, mainstream rap thrives on just it's a business,
I'm
man. You know what I
fucking
mean? It's candy, it's popcorn. Get down
and
to it.
it's
You know
always
what I
been
mean?
microwave. Like people act like this era is the only microwave era and that lyrics no longer matter. But it's like, bro, lyrics never fucking mattered. It only mattered to the core audience, which is what reveres things to be legendary.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean? Like
for sure.
it's the
So
same thing now.
Yeah, the GOATs aren't necessarily I mean, look at all the people that sold the most records. Hammer, all like Vanilla Ice, like those people aren't considered anything. In to the people that are like appreciative of like the culture, you know, so to say.
Kilo, Coolio. Look at these are the dudes who were selling records, and most kids nowadays don't even know who these guys are.
Exactly. But they know who Nas is. They know, you know what I mean? So it's like it's a finicky road. I agree with all of it. But
it's why I respect cats like you and Stitch who aren't scared to step outside of a box, because I think there's too many artists who are lyrical who could really expand on their artistry and create some really great, groundbreaking, gender bending, just innovative music. But they get pigeonholed because of the generation they grew up in, where they're like, oh, that's not real, or that's not this. But it's like I got to keep it real. But it's like, yo, like, the dudes who you revere as legends, you got, or you get the opposite side, right? Where dudes who just want to be gimmicky and everything, but it's like, you know, the gimmicky dudes are never the dudes who's remembered, but they're always the ones that got the clout in the moment. You know what I mean? Of course,
because it's they're doing something that is, you know, at the peak of energy of that particular moment. You know what I mean? They're riding that, but then, like you said, like they come and go, dime a dozen. Like in a year, you don't even know who this person is. So it's like I'm just trying to build the longevity. And I mean, again, if you're able to sell millions of records and get millions of streams and views and generate a income off even a gimmick, hats off to you. I don't even care who am I to say what kind of art someone should make. But I'm just like, for me, I just feel like my climb is mad slow, but that's okay. You know, I'm enjoying it, and I'm just going to be around longer this way. I don't want to be consumed in a 6-month period and then forgotten about, you know what I mean, for the rest of time. So I'm just trying to be real with myself here. So all it is.
No, exactly. And I think, and you know, and I think you're going about it the right way as well too. And like one thing I respect about cats like you, and you know, like I don't know if you guys all like, I know you guys all kind of came up in the same circles and stuff, but like one thing I noticed about a lot of you like West Coast cats, like you know, Hercules and shit, like you guys all are very interactive with your fans and shit. You know what I mean? And that's another important thing. A lot of artists get to a certain level and then they're like, I'm too cool to interact online anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got Mercury's breaking fucking record numbers for fucking Canadian hip hop right now, and this dude's still online talking to his fans on a daily basis, you know. And that's one thing I see in you. I see it in Prada. I don't see it quite as much with Snack, but he's kind of like super OG, where it's like he kind of rides that line where he doesn't need to. But like, it's something I noticed with some of the newer generations. I guess not new anymore, but you know, upcoming generations after that original Stomp Down, where like you guys are very interactive online. You understand the importance of it, and you guys speak to your audience, and you guys are there. And I think that's another key thing that you know, a lot of artists could take notes from, is that you guys are on a daily basis showing appreciation to those who are there to help your come up, and in that turn, they feel appreciated, and they're more happy to spread your music and share it and get the word out and be like, this guy's fucking not only a dope artist, but he's a cool motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if people appreciate you and you don't show some kind of reciprocal appreciation, that appreciation of you is not going to last very long. Maybe not everyone cares, you know what I mean? But especially in this time when there's no show, like my favorite thing to do is shows and then meet everybody and hang out, buy shots, whatever. Like, oh man, I only have $20 and I wanted this hoodie and it's 60. You know what, bro? Take the fucking hoodie. You know what I mean? Really building with people, because that's like, yo, this guy was so nice to me, and vice versa. Hear their stories. Like, I mean, I don't really exist without the people that don't appreciate me. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you don't have that mentality, I think your shit's going to be cut quite short, or you're just going to be looked at as a dick. And then that's also going to affect the bottom line. You know what I mean? So, and at the same time, we're all humans, bro. Like, just because I rap good or whatever, you know what I mean? That doesn't, that makes me better than you? Like, no, come on, man. Like, I don't see it like that at all. I love to do it. It's my craft. It's my passion. People fuck with it. I'm gonna show them a lot of love, you know, because I just happen to find something that I'm good at and I continue to do it. And I can't be like feeling like I'm in some like superior fucking domain over this shit. That's just stupid. So
yeah,
I give everybody their respect, man. Everyone is important. So
no, and that's one thing, like, you know, just as like an outsider looking in, is one thing I really appreciate about like just the whole movement you guys kind of have came like second, like, I don't even know, because I'm not from out west, so I didn't watch everything get built. But like, to me, I heard a snack first, and then I started hearing about your Mercules, your Pradas, your Junks.
Mm-hmm.
To me, on like here in Ontario, it's like you guys are kind of like the second wave, second generation, stomp down kind of representative. But one thing I've noticed kind of deep within that clique, well, I mean, Prada's OG too, but he caught my radar in that period, you know. But either way, what I'm saying is like, I just noticed you guys are very interactive with your fans and appreciative, and it's one thing that I really have took heed to. And you know, I've tried that just from watching your guys' examples. You know, I'm not a social media guy. I hate social media, but I have to be on there to keep a buzz up, to stay in algorithms, to do what I do. You know what I mean? It's what you have to do. I hate it, but I do. So I've taken notes from you guys. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like, you know, there is no level of being too cool to interact with your fans. You got it. You know what I mean? Like that's part of your job. You know, and I think
for sure.
I think it's a healthy blueprint that I think a lot of artists can follow, what you guys have kind of set up out there.
Absolutely. And especially like if like, you know, if you make real music, so they say, you know, it's like you have to interact. Like if like, I'm always talking about just being, you know, equal to others and whatnot. So it's like, if I just start not having that kind of demeanor online, then it's like, it kind of makes my music not make any sense. Where it's like, you know, my whole music is just like treat everyone with respect, get it, level up, and you know, personal stories and anecdotes and whatnot. But it's really about like unity and just being like power numbers and just like building community and brotherhood type of shit, right? That's like really the message of my music, to be honest. So it's like, if I don't preach that kind of thing online, then what the fuck, what am I saying in my music? I'm not really living by what I'm saying, you know? So
then you become Nas in verse 2 of Blueprint. Can't y'all see that he's fake? Rap version of TD Jakes prophesizing on your TDs and tapes.
Exactly. So that's facts. Word up.
Before I take it back, I did want to ask one thing just off of the strength of something you had mentioned there. Is just like, you know, your favorite things going out, going to shows, meeting and touching the people, getting to hear the stories. I was just curious, like, you know, with someone with music that is kind of so real and hits close to home for the average person, a lot of the music you make, you know, especially like joints like social media and stuff, which we will get into.
Basically,
yeah, exactly. But I want to know, like, is there any stories that fans have told you up to this point in your career that have really stood out? Like when they told you, like, yo, this song helped me through this or this, where you're just like, holy fuck, like.
Bro, to be honest, I mean, just for the most recent one on New Year's Eve, I got a crazy message, big DM, where it's like, I don't know, I posted it even, and this guy was like, I was literally about to take my life tonight, basically, but your music has made me not want to, and just like be strong. So I was like, I reposted it. I, you know, deleted his name or edited, photoshopped his name out or whatever, and just reposted it. And I was just like, I'm glad this young man is still here in 2021. Like, he basically was thinking about ending it and didn't want to see 2021. So it's like, I mean, that's weird to digest that type of stuff, but like, I'm not like making music to save others. I don't have like a God complex or anything, but when that shit happens and people reach out to you, which it's happened several times, you know, over the years, always people are like, yo, your music saved my life, this, that. He was talking about overdosing. He wanted to do fentanyl is what he said. I was going to just end it all with a huge fentanyl batch. And then he decided not to, because my music made him feel like he could, you know, feel strength. And, so he didn't do it, and he's still alive today. And yeah, man, we chopped it up just on the DMs, and I just wished him, like, you know, if there's anything I can do, blah, blah, blah. So again, interacting, and just, if music helps, I'm here for you, and that's blessed. But yeah, people have told me they've, you know, stopped themselves from committing suicide from listening to my music or having a catalog of mine and just, you know, going through it. Again, because my music is kind of like encouraging and like, yo, shit's mad dark sometimes, but there's always a little sliver of light. Look at the light as opposed to all the darkness around it. That's really like a metaphor for like most of my catalog. So when
Yeah.
people are, when they align with that, it's kind of dope. And so it's like, word, you know. So those are kind of the heaviest things that have been said to me. So it's like, it doesn't really get less heavy than that. Or like one dude named his kid after me too. It's like, my kid's named Ian. Like at first he's like, yo, I named my kid after you. I'm like, you called your kid Junk? He's like, no, your real name Ian. I'm like, oh, word. I'm like, don't ever name your kid that. That's terrible. He's like, no.
Yo, shit.
But yeah, I guess music has an impact, you know. But it is what it is, man. So, but there's some beautiful things. There's some beautiful stories. Too many to name, but those definitely are a couple little examples for sure.
Well, you know what? That just means that you know, you're doing what you're supposed to. You know what I mean? Because music is supposed to be a release in all different types of ways, right? Sometimes it's just supposed to be like, whether it's just a release to go out and dance, and that's what that music is good for. It doesn't mean it's shit. It doesn't mean that it's whatever. It serves its purpose, right? And I think it just goes to show that you have a higher purpose. You know, we need artists like that out there who are able to cross that boundary where people can listen to it and be like, yo, damn, man, I'm gonna think twice about doing some shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you look at the butterfly effect, it's like your music has literally changed the course of this world. Like, there could be a future world leader or somebody who creates the cure to some sort of disease or whatever, who may have offed themselves but didn't, because they heard a song from you that gave them the will to live. You know what I mean? I think that's a very powerful thing.
For sure. No, it's crazy. I mean, on a micro macro level, you know, if I can change 5 people's outcomes of their evening, or like still existing on this earth lit, you know, that's great. That's a huge compliment and bonus, and makes me want to do it more, you know? So to me, that's success. You know what I mean? Like, obviously I want M's in the bank. Obviously I want to cruise around and just be an idiot and have nice luxurious things, which if they come, that's also a blessing. But there's also blessings another way, or like success. Like, yo, you saved some kid's life tonight, bro. With a song you made 9 years ago or some shit. Like
that's wild.
I mean, that's no, you can't really put a price tag on that kind of stuff. So it's like, I'm blessed regardless. It's successful to me, you know, and I'll keep going. So I'm not 18 years old anymore. It's a young man's game, sadly. And ageism is terrible in rap music, especially. It's terrible. But I'm growing every year. I'm getting better. I'm working with more people all the time, new people, affecting people differently, still making money off it, even in the COVID pandemic. So it's like, that's the kind of stuff that keeps me going. You know what I mean? Messages of like help and support and whatnot. So, you know, it's not just about getting a bag. Obviously I want the bag, but there's a lot of forms of payment that, you know, to help me out too. Getting these kind of messages also like make me feel like I am on the right path too. So it goes both ways. It goes both ways for sure. Yeah,
exactly. And it's actually, so like, even just what you said there, you know what I mean? I was ready to take it back, but there's a couple points now that I still actually want to touch on, even just with that. But the first thing being the ageism thing, I treat that a lot like the whole lyrical conversation. Like, I've come to a point in the last couple of years where I started to get discouraged with hip hop. I started taking the media route. I stopped making music because I'm just like, yo. And it all started when I went to an OVO fest and I seen crowds going crazy for artists that I thought were below mediocre. And I'm like, this is what it's come to. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this is really what it's come to. I actually cried at this show. And I'm not gonna lie, bro. I did. My girl's like, are you fucking wild, bro? What are you doing? And I'm like, it just because it was like a moment of realization. You know what I mean? Kind of like a hope crushing moment. But since then, I've learned to look at things, and everything's perspective in life. And ageism to me is a fucking myth. Just like the whole lyricism conversation, it's all how you look at it. Lyricism was never the biggest shit, to be honest. Ageism, it's always been a thing, but it's never really actually a thing, bro. Freddie Gibbs is on top of his game right now. The Griselda boys, damn, what, Westside Gun probably pushing 40 at this point.
Well, Two Chainz, bro. Look at 2 Chainz.
He branded himself as a grown man. Like,
no, I'm not tripping. I just like, I feel like a lot of the youngsters are always like, oh man, or even the old heads like, oh, we're done. You know, it's like, we're done. What are you talking about, dude? Like, like the older you grow, the more wisdom you have and shit. Like, even Jay-Z released some of his best music in his late 40s, in my opinion. Yeah, it's like,
exactly.
What? You know what I mean? So
exactly. And that's it. And that's what I just wanted to say, like, just kind of on the path of, like, you know, where you feel that discouragement, just trying to the breath to the opposing conversation of it. Like, I don't think ageism exists. I think all that exists is the belief in yourself is the biggest thing, because as long as you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. But if you're 35 pushing out the best music you ever pushed out, and it's touching people and relating, and you believe in it enough to market it the same way you did when you're 25, then it's going to be more effective. You know what I mean? This ageism shit only exists because we put these mental caps on ourselves.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Ageism, it's the narrative. It's the narrative that exists. That's why that even creates fucking mental. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh man, it's our game now. It's like, our game. You're like 23 years old. What life have you even lived? What are you telling me that you know what I mean? I'll body you in wisdom. So don't even, like, what? And I'm not saying that someone young can't have an amazing outlook on life and have some insane shit to say. They do, and they can, and they have, and they will. But I just find it ridiculous that it's like, you're so what? Just because you're in your 20s, that's the only person that can make this type of music? Fuck out of my face. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. And this is the way I would compare it is like, look, you know, this is going to sound hella disrespectful to somebody, but I ain't letting no kid in their 20s who makes songs about killing their ops and promoting it tell me that I can't rap when I can tell you about something.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
That's it.
Facts.
You know, that's it. You know, if your music, if you can make music that helps take people's lives away, and I can make music that I help enhance somebody's life, you know, you're not telling me that I can't do what I do. That's
of course.
You know, hopefully you'll get to the age one day where you make that realization yourself too, and it's not all about that. Because, you know, everybody when we're young, we want to rap about killing people and hurting people, and, you know, it's that young boy rage you got in you. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I'm gonna fucking strangle you with your mom's underwear until your eyes pop out your ears. You know, like, it's just like whatever.
I never rapped like that. I never rapped that about killing people. I never rapped about killing people like that.
I definitely did.
But I mean, I listened to that rap though, for sure. No, I get it. You gotta get it out.
100%. But one thing, before we do take it back to just on the conversation we did have is about, like, you know, your music being able to, you know, being able to help someone's life or even potentially save somebody. I was curious, when you were coming up, were there any artists specifically that you could accredit to, you know, maybe saving your life at one point or another where you're at a really low point?
Man, pretty much just hip hop in general, bro. I mean, saving, like, I didn't really need saving or anything, but like, it just put me on a path. It just made me I just loved it so much, and I just continue to pursue it now. So it's like, that just put me on a path of dedication and passion and craftsmanship. You know what I mean? As opposed to just maybe getting into more trouble and being dumb as a kid. So it's like, I would say the Nas's and the J's and the Mobb Deeps, you know, that's obviously my era, but listening to that music, I loved it so much. I was like, I have to do this. I have to make this. I align myself with this. This makes sense. Even though I was like living in like a wooded area and not in a metropolis jungle at that time. So it was like, why is this making sense? You know what I mean? I'm like, but it just, I don't know, it just hit a nerve. And again, take it way back. It was like learning English, right? At the time, obviously. So it's like, I moved here from Europe. I was speaking Italian and German. It's such a long story. I've told it so many times, but like, coming here and not knowing the language, just listening to rap music was kind of like a teacher to me, you know, understanding what they were saying, the slang, this, that, and then the styles. And it was like cool to be different. I kind of identified with that. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm not from here. These guys are different. So it all just amalgamated into one big pot of like, this is what I want to do. I don't know. My heart just clicked with it immediately. And I was like, all right, there's no turning back. That's why people are like, oh, the worst thing is like, oh, here's another Eminem, which like every white rapper gets compared to, right? And I was like, man, I didn't even know who Eminem was for like 9 years before Eminem even came out. I was listening to rap music. Like, I've been writing raps, I've been recording, you know, before I even know who Slim Shady was. I hate that so much. I was like, no, I was like in love with this shit way before that, and I just call it saved or call it whatever, but it put me on the right path. And yeah, no regrets, man. So no regrets, man.
No regrets, yo. And there is nothing as a white rapper that's more fucking like annoying than a fucking Eminem comparison. For sure. And I'm lucky I've lived outside of that realm most of my life, but I get the fucking classified comparisons regularly.
Right.
So that's almost as annoying. That's almost as annoying. Shout out to Class. That's the dude. Much love to the big homie. Much love to the big homie, but always feeling like you're living in that shadow is kind of annoying. You know what I mean?
But I mean, there's a lot worse. You know what I mean? You could be stabbed in the throat as opposed to being
exactly.
So whatever. It's all relative.
100%. But I think it's really interesting what you said though, about moving here and kind of identifying with hip hop, because I knew you're Italian, but I wasn't aware that you actually moved here from Europe.
Yeah,
when you were
well,
young.
Italian German, born in Germany. You know, dad's Italian, mom's German, born in Germany, lived in Italy, back to Germany, back and forth, kind of chaos, and then ended up in DC. So yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's cool, and I wasn't aware of that part of your early history, but I thought it was really cool how the way you kind of realized like what your love and draw to hip hop was and how it made you connect, like how, you know, you're like, I'm here, I'm different, I don't know the language. So not only was it kind of like a teaching to you, but it also kind of allowed you to have your own identity and maybe an area not so many people like hip hop. And I can relate to that very much so, in the sense of like, you know, where I grew up in a small town, there was no, I didn't grow up in Toronto, right? And where I grew up, I was the only dude rocking FUBU in grade school, in grade 6. You know what I mean?
That
I used
was
to get
me,
picked
bro.
on.
That was me. I get it.
Yeah. So it's like I needed it to like kind of have my own identity, so people would stop fucking with me. You know what I mean? And that was kind of like my grasp on the hip hop. And you know, and just the same way that you mentioned, like how it was able to teach you, like you almost kind of helped learn the language through listening to this music. And it's like, very much of myself is like, you know, I have hip hop to thank. It's like, you know, whether it be teachings at KRS-One or Nas, or just different ways of looking, it's like history's alive. You know what I mean? And to learn to look up history yourself, and just the way to look at, and, you know, deal with situations and different things in life. It's like, so hip hop has built so much of what I am, you know what I mean? And it's just, I find it very unique listening to different people's stories and how hip hop has kind of helped them be who they are. You know what I mean? And just like,
yeah, I agree, 100%. That's different world perspective, like you said. Like Nas is like, I listened to so much Nas, it was crazy. So, you know, knowledge, right? And KRS-One too, and it was just like, oh shit, what's he talking about? He's like, this guy's talking about the Illuminati in like 1992. You know, I was like, yeah. So I'm like, oh, what is this? And then you do research and you get into that. Oh shit, like whoa. So, yeah, it was just alternative worldviews from different people's, like, you know, places in life, and then you just take a liking to it and can identify with it or whatever. So it's definitely been key in my upbringing and who I am today, and will continue to be, for sure, man. Yeah, I was definitely rocking FUBU in grade 6, bro.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I had the nastiest FUBU tracksuit, bro, and it was all I could get my parents to buy me. It's all they could afford was the one year. So I wore the shit out of that every goddamn day.
There you go.
Oh man, by the end of fucking 6th grade, man, there's holes in it and shit. Like, yo, I'm telling you. Remember Snoop Dogg clothing snapback hat, or not even snapback, it was the fucking flex fits back then. Those disgusting ass hats.
Flex fits.
Bro. Flex fits. Those shit was nasty.
Yeah, I used to rock those flex fits for sure.
Oh man, but yo, so I do want to take it back, man. You know, so when did you move to Van exactly?
Fucking 20. Well, no, yeah, 2000 and I'd say like maybe 8.
Okay.
2008, 2008, something like that. 2008, 2009, I think. Yeah, I think somewhere around there. Yeah.
Wow, crazy. So
I was a young kid. I was just a young kid. I was living in Nelson, British Columbia, small little, you won't know where it is, maybe you do, but small little place, 15,000 people. And I was basically just plateaued out. I was like a 15-year-old kid hosting hip hop nights every Thursday at this place called the Civic. Shout out to the Civic, doesn't exist anymore. It was a bar, and just me and my DJ Ripple, and this other group I was in, Carpe Diem. We were doing hip hop nights every Thursday, having like other acts come in, and I would just freestyle and rap and do our songs. I was 15 in the bar. There's actually a legal clause that if you're underage but you are part of the show, you can be on the stage. You can't leave the stage, but you can be on the stage to do your thing. So I would just be in the bar, and of course people were slipping me drinks and shit, 14, 15 years old, gin and tonics, partying with adults and shit. And so I was just doing that forever. And then, but at a certain point I was like, damn, like I need to pursue this shit more. So I just got up and left and went to Vancouver and started like entering the rap battle circuit here, like the freestyle off the head rap battle circuit. And to summarize, it all came here and I just started dominating and winning. Like there was this thing called Rent Money battles here. And Emotions, Dave Nelson, OG from Vancouver Emotions here. He hosted those and he was like, yo, let's go. I'll sign you up all the time. And he did. I was kind of scared at first. I was like, oh shit, big city, all these crazy rappers. I'm scared, man. And my homie signed me up and I just went. And the first one I ever went to, I won like $500, literally paid my rent with it. And then the rest is history. And I just started winning like crazy. And I started to become like revered around here as like, you know, the freestyle god basically. And the freestyle rap battle guy. And then King of the Dot came around. And it was a new format, new thing. Never really heard about it. I was watching like Pat Stay and Sharon back in the day and Diz a little bit. And then we did our thing here in Vancouver. Got into King of the Dot, all that shit. So yeah, it was like 2008, 2009. Came here and just started doing my thing and, you know, getting my credibility in the rap circuits around here. So yeah. I don't know. So I kind of trailed off, but it is what it is. That's kind of like
no.
Here in Vancouver. Rap battles in Vancouver is what got me started. And then, you know, heads roll up and start giving you love and respect. And then you start hitting studios and getting booked for little tiny shows and shit. You know how it goes. So.
Yeah, no doubt. And there's actually two areas right there that I want to touch on. But first, like, because you are very well revered as an off the top freestyler. Anyone that I know that's ever seen you live has always pretty much damn near, if not had great things to say the next day about the show. About freestyle. They actually posted videos of it, and you know, you make a point to go on every once in a while and flex your freestyle skills too. People throw words at you and shit on your lives or whatever it may be, and you are very well revered as a freestyle off the top giant in Canada, I would say. And I was curious, like when you were doing those shows, the 15-year-old, when you were hosting the shows, you couldn't leave the stage. Is that where you really started to hone your freestyle off the top skills, like having to be on stage?
Well, I was like, I only have 3 songs. I can't do them for 3 fucking hours. So it was like, DJ, play some beats. And I would just, all right, you know, that was my thing, bro. That's where I just got good crowd interaction and doing it for hours every Thursday. And then I was just rapping at like house parties and shit too, obviously, you know, that was just my thing. I just like, I guess from an early age, it would just happen to be what I had to do in order to stay in the club. So it's like freestyling my way in the club to stay there. You know what I mean? I'm staying in this bar because I got bars off the head. That's it, you know? So it's like, okay. I definitely for sure. Yeah. 100%.
That's pretty incredible, man. And I think the second point of what you're talking about too that I found very interesting, and I think people who are a fan of Canadian hip hop and you know the history, I think that's a nugget that you dropped as well too that I think maybe a lot of people don't realize about you. And it goes to the conversation we were saying before, where it's like, you know, when you have an entry point with an artist, a lot of time you don't realize their come up. So I think it was interesting too how you said like when you moved to Van and your boy put you in the freestyle competition.
Yo,
you're like, okay,
straight 8 Mile. That was like for real. Now. I was like, I'm scared, bro. Like I'm fucking scared. He's like, just fucking do it. I was like, okay, let's try. But anyways, back right to what you were saying, but for real.
Yeah, no, but I think it's interesting because and then you win it and then you start doing these circuits and like you said, you're like, then I became kind of known as the guy who could kill freestyles. And I think that's an interesting part of your story that maybe a lot of people at a current entry point don't realize. Because to me now, it helps me to understand, like people on the East Coast, the West Coast revere you a certain way because you're kind of like a legend in Van in the regard of like freestyle. Like, you know, for a decade plus, people have known Junk like, yo, this guy wins all the contests. This guy, you know what I mean? You're kind of like, you're revered like that. As to where out here, you know, my entry point to you is what, 2017, 2018, right? So it's a lot different. So I think it's really important for people to learn that those nuggets of history as well too, because it really
nuggets of history. You should do a whole sideshow called Nuggets of History.
Yo, for real.
Like the whole like, different, like a fucking podcasting Nuggets of History where people like you only take the snippets of these and repost those and talk about it. where it's like they just drop some shit with no one would know. You know what I mean? Oh, this guy 15 years old fucking having a freestyle in the club to stay inside, whatever. That's like a clip you could use, you know? That would be a dope show. I'd watch that.
That's actually a good idea. That's a good idea. That actually would be a good way to you know, now we're talking like business and ideas, and I don't want to say too much publicly, but you just gave me a good idea. That might be a good way to bring the social media and the YouTube to one thing where you're not releasing all your content in one area, but you can still draw people. You know, I've been trying to figure out a good way to do that that's not corny, and I think you might have just kind of help hit the hammer on the nail a little bit. Actually, I'm not gonna lie.
Hit me with that e-transfer, fam.
But so I do want to go forward from that though. I just thought that was really interesting because, you know, a lot of everyone's been in the hip hop scene where they know a prominent figure. And a lot of times, you know, that prominent figure doesn't apply themselves and they just kind of drift away when that scene drifts away, whether it be a certain freestyle showcase that happens or certain, you know, club events that happen on a weekly or a monthly or, you know what I mean? There's always these little nuggets that disappear in history because those people don't apply themselves beyond it. So I think it's really interesting that you kind of come from that circuit. You were kind of that bad, like the freestyle kind of king doing these circuits, and then you're like, yo, I gotta switch, I gotta apply myself and make a career out of this. And now you're not just the guy who people knew back in the day. You actually are. That's just a part of your history now. You know what I mean? Where a lot of cats, that's the peak of their history. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta push. But I also that's why I hate not touring, because I can say for myself, you know, without no ego attached on this shit, but like I can say that like touring, I always do the freestyle segment. I do that 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes off the top straight where people are like, what the fuck's going on? You know what I mean? To bring that back, because that's such an integral part of my upbringing and who I am and what I love to do so much. So it's like, I always, every show any show you come to, I will freestyle for 20 minutes at the end over 30 instrumentals, just go ham in the crowd in your rack, jump in the crowd, whatever I got to do. But I will do that just because it's like, it shows, if people don't know, like you said, people, especially out east or elsewhere, might not know that about me. You know, further away from home, that's less known. This is more of a local thing. So when I do leave or go abroad, I make sure that's a staple. So people, when I do leave that city and that night, people are like, yo, that guy's fucking crazy off the top. So that story in itself continues to grow and just becomes part of my, you know, character and who I am out there. So word.
Yeah. No, and I think that's really interesting. I think it's really dope too, because you know, you would have to assume someone who can freestyle the way you do for so long and so oftenly would have to have a huge background in freestyling, but you almost, unless you know, you don't know, you know what I mean? So it's like, once you say it, it's like, it makes perfect sense. This was your entry point, you know what I mean? But it's like, until you know that, it's just like, damn, how's this guy freestyle like that? But it makes sense.
It's the first step I took with like, you know, hip hop rap, where people are compliment, yo man, you're good at that. So I'm like, oh fuck, I'm good at something in this shit. Okay, let's do it all the time. You know what I mean? And then it just went, and I'm still here doing it. You know what I mean? I'm 90 years old and I love to freestyle still.
And so I do want to go from that too, like,
sure.
You know, so 2010, you dropped the Too Broke to Buy Beats. I do want to talk about that just because I think it's important to, you know, cover from like, you know, the beginning of the spectrum to where you are now, right? And though many people probably aren't familiar with this project, I was just kind of curious, like what was like kind of your state at the time when making it? And you know, I like the way that you used the title, like Too Broke to Buy Beats. I did a Jack of her Beats mixtape in 2013. Right. So I appreciated that title, going back and seeing that and reading it. I'm like, yes, I like that. Like the whole idea of just like, I'm presenting you exactly what I'm giving you. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. No, nothing. No. It is what it is.
I mean, what else can I say? You know, that was my state. And I'm broke, bro. I ain't buying no beats. I'll rap to other shit. Let's go.
Yeah.
So that was really.
Like, was that like the SoundClick days? Because I didn't really recognize the beats on there. So I'm guessing like they were either from SoundClick or something, but like they weren't like industry beats, were they?
No, they. Well, there's a fucking Lil Wayne one, Make It Rain. That was on there. Lil Wayne was fucking. That was on there. But the other ones were all like Jake one. It was a lot of them. It was like, I think some Static Selecta, Jake one, Freeway Stimulus Package album that they did. Jake One, I was heavy into the Jake One beats at that era. So I was just like, I just took beats of songs I was listening to. They weren't mine. There's one original song on there. Featuring Aftershock, because I went and battled Aftershock. I was the first Vancouver rapper to fly to Toronto and battle in King of the Dot. Me.
Oh, wow.
And I was the first Vancouver rapper to battle in King of the Dot in Toronto. And then I took, So I took the L. I took the L undeservedly, in my opinion. Also in Aftershock's opinion. Hence why he hit me up. It's like, yo, we should do a cut, bro. Like, honestly, I think you got me in that. I think you fucking got me in that, which is cool, whatever. But it was all like, now it doesn't really matter. Everyone's fucking cool with one another and shit. Oh yeah, he took me, whatever. And then carry on. Life moves on. But back then it was like, I did not want to fucking lose. I was pissed. But then he was like, no, I honestly, I think you took that. And whatever, that's open for interpretation. I'm not even trying to like reclaim a dub or anything. But out of that, he's like, let's do a song. So, you know what? I'm wrong. We did it over a Mos Def and Talib Kweli beat. That wasn't the original, but we did do a song. And that's my only feature on that fucking album, I think, or on that mixtape. And I went, fuck it. That was like the craziest verse I ever spit up to that point in my career. I was like, oh, this guy beat me in Toronto. I'm not letting him win this shit. Fuck that. Yeah, I just went ham. And KOTD magazine, back when they used to do the magazines, they printed an article saying some shit like that, paraphrasing now, but they were like, Junk lost the battle of Aftershock, but fuck, he snapped on this song, and he got his back. He got his vengeance back. And they printed that in the KOTD magazine. Like, I even have a copy of it, this magazine somewhere. So I was like, cool, full circle, all good. I got my fucking revenge, you know what I mean?
Oh man. That's awesome. And seeing like, this is exactly why I like to go back and talk about the old stuff. Because not only is it, even if it's not the music you want people to go check for of yours, it is an integral part of the history. And then I'm able to learn other things, you know, like I had no idea you were the first I'm out to Toronto and battling KOTD. Like I wasn't aware that was one of your stats. Like, that's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah. First dude to rap again. And then it was Aspire, who was battling Soulcon that night in King of the Dot in Toronto. But like, technically we flew out on the same fucking flight together, me and him. And then but that was just a little fun stat. But that turned into a whole thing. But anyways, that's where I was, bro. When you're asking me where I was in 2010, just hungry, battle rap kid, freestyle kid, trying to start making music. Like, shit, I need to start like recording and getting songs out. I mean, to be honest, I had like 4 albums that dropped before that mixtape.
Wow.
Yeah, but they're like burn disc albums, you know what I mean? I pressed 500 albums and wrote on it with a Jiffy marker with this old group Carpe Diem and Northern Images were my 2 groups from Nelson. But then I dipped, and then I became a solo artist kind of thing, because those dudes stayed in Nelson. But yeah, so I was just like, fuck it, but I had no money. I'm in the city, you know, the city's expensive and shit. So I was like, fuck, YouTube beats, writing, recording for free, everything free. And then just like, you know, taking any opportunity I could. I was just a hungry kid who was just trying to fucking do it all. Shows, rap, this, that. But battling, I will always have I was in the rap battle mentality back then, because it gave me the exposure. You know what I mean? It gave, King of the Dot, freestyle this, that. Okay, cool. Put money in my pocket. So I was like, that's where I was. I was just a hungry kid that needed money for living, and rapping my way into victory was the way I was going to do it. That's that.
And I dig that a lot, man, because I can relate to the whole moving to the big city thing and being broke thing. You know, like I came up in a smaller town, built a buzz up there, did whatever, didn't move to a big city. Not only are you a small fish in a huge pond, nobody knows about you.
Nobody. That's the other. That thing's hard to do when you're in a new city and you're like, you don't have that like high school support. You know, like I know people here and they're like, they start a year ago or something, you know, rapping or whatever, and then they like a year later they have a show at home and there's 300 people that come out. It's like, because they have their high school people and that they're rooted here from friendships and shit. I never had that. I never had any rooted friendships in Vancouver. It was everything I got was based on rap. Like, so any
And-
friends I have now is all based on me coming here and doing rap shit, meeting them at shows, clubs, whatever the fuck it was. It's all based on that and on the strength of that and wherever I was at that moment. I never had that like grassroots like fan base kind of where it's like, oh, I went to school with that. Never had that. Like, so it was just like always lone wolf type of shit. You know what I mean? So, which is hard.
It is really hard, man. I can relate to that a lot. And I really like the whole concept of like why you went that way with the mixtape now, because I relate to that shit, bro. Like I came here and I didn't have money for music videos. I did not put out a music video between 2015 to what, like damn near about a year ago. So I went about 4 years without dropping a music video after I moved here. You know what I mean? Like I told you earlier, I got discouraged. I stopped making music. I just started focusing on media because I just got discouraged with where hip hop was. It took a refresh. Like dudes like you, dudes like Stitch to kind of show me like, yo, people still give a fuck about skills, to really actually kind of inspire me to like get back into making music. You know what I mean?
I seen you murder those verses for the contest and shit like that. I was just like, hey, this guy's going in. You know what I mean? So I see that you're doing it.
Yeah, salute. But you know, it's dudes like you guys who have persevered through times, you know, that inspire dudes like me to even actually continue to rap. Because I was at a point where I'm like, you know, big city, broke. I'm making money off doing media. I'm not making money off doing rap. You know what I mean? Nobody gives a fuck about it. And to me, it's like people would rather hear this than hear this. And, you know, so I gotta give my hats off to dudes like you guys who persevered through the fire and showed cats like me that, like, you know, people still care about lyrics. You know what I mean? It's still cool to actually care about rapping. You know what I mean?
Word up.
And I relate to the whole thing too about, you know, being in a big city, being broke as fuck. I scraped by $300 a week forever. Fucking, you know, I couldn't afford music videos. I couldn't afford fuck all. You know what I mean? So I like how that's a part of your story. But I want to go. Like, would you say when you did the RBPH project while hungry, like back in 2014, was that really your first transition from like kind of like just using what was at your pool of resources for free to where you actually like, I can invest something in myself now?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
that was, I know, 100%. That's, and also like we dropped an album Northwest, because we were calling Northwest Division. We just re-uploaded it, and now it's just called Junk and Hungry, just for like maximizing stream potential and shit like that. Whatever, it doesn't matter. We were called Northwest Division, so we actually did an album before that album. It was just called Northwest Division. It was me, Hungry, and my other homie Cole, who stopped rapping after that, because we transitioned not only into like putting some, like, you know, we're working now. We're like men, you know what I mean? Like young men making some money and shit, and really like wanting to do this. So we did like a boom bap album all over Eng beats, and that was dope. But then we just encountered this kind of like, that was the era I encountered inspiration, and so did Hungry, for like the new wave, like Double Time, Chopper, like DJ Burn One, Yellow Wolf, Gucci Mane, Tech 9 era, where it's like, whoa, like there's some crazy technical fast rap that's actually saying some shit too. It's not like corny, like, whoa, this is crazy. So me and Hungry fell into like, man, this is the type of shit we want to do, and we started doing it. And like you said, on RBPH, our other homie's like, I don't rap like that, so he just took like a managerial role, and we kind of had like a little manager dude on the side. That was our homie. And then me and Hungry just started doing Double Time, technical, crazy rap on like more wavy, more melodic, big, dark kind of like Southern style shit, you know? So yeah, for sure. That was the time we started taking it more serious and investing more, and also changing our style and our ability too. So that was like a turning point for me. And that's when I started like rapping in a different way, you know, like every single minute that I'm rapping, I'm thinking, you know, like crazy shit like that. I never really rapped like that before. So I started mastering that approach in rap, in rap writing, I guess you would call it. I don't know. So yeah, for sure. RBPH is definitely when I took myself more seriously and started applying myself in like more of a business sense, 100%.
Yeah. No, it's really dope too. And the reason why I asked that specifically like that is because I think that most artists do have a point where, you know, if you're a motivated cat, you could you possibly make me another one? Thank you, baby. When you're a motivated cat, I think everybody has that pre-career, like, you know, the CD burning era. We've all had that, you know what I mean? And then we don't even consider that part of our career. And we have like
I mean,
albums.
I honestly, I do consider that part of my career. I sold
Do you?
1,500 of those shits.
Well, that's
1,500.
crazy.
I remember I sold 1,500 burned CDs on my first little project that I ever made. I was
That's
like,
cool.
Okay, we're doing it. You know what I mean? I was young though, but okay. Anyways, not really.
No, that's solid. That's solid. But like I just think it's cool, like, you know, the transition. But then there's always that landmark project where I think a lot of cats like they're like, this is where I consider my career really started. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what, like, just from like going back and going through your catalogs and stuff and seeing stuff. To me, looking in, I kind of seen RBPH as that kind of moment for you. So that's why I was curious to ask you if that kind of was like that landmark moment where it's like, this is where we're taking it serious.
No, you're right. You're right. You're totally, absolutely correct, man. For sure. For sure. So, well, I appreciate the digging that you're doing, bro, because, you know, I'm not no superstar, bro. But like, when, you know, I've done a lot of little interviews and this, that, and it's like, I just want to like be like, yeah, I mean, I'm animated anyways, but I'm just like, fuck, there's no like digging, because why? You know, who am I? They're like, oh yeah, I heard about this guy from this guy, but you're actually taking the time to like dig and look, and I appreciate that, bro. So I just want to let you know, thank you for doing that. It makes me feel like you actually give a fuck when what's happening. So word up to you.
Well, no doubt, and not only is it that I give a fuck, but for one, it's just I take pride in what I do, and I think a lot of people occupy this space that don't really care about the culture or the music. You know what I mean? Like they're just doing it because they want to have a voice and talk. You know what I mean? But they're not really about actually uncovering anything from these artists. Do you know what I mean?
No,
and
for sure.
That's
And I'm just, you know, as they say, giving you your flowers right now, because I appreciate that, bro. I really do. That's what's up.
I appreciate you saying it, man. And you know what? I think overall, it's not just that. I just had to throw that shot out there. But more importantly to me, what it's all about is it's about learning the history, man. You know what I mean? Like that's what we're here to do. And I think Canadian hip hop does not focus enough on the history. We big our dudes up. We give certain people their flowers, and we add to their success or allow them to be successful, and we support them. But nobody sits here and is like, yo, like, what was it like coming up? Like, where did you know what I mean? And that's one area I think, you know, with our brand, we've always really tried to be very integral about, is learning the building blocks and the history behind the Canadian hip hop, not just taking it at face value, but learning. Like, you know, as Canadians, we could tell you that hip hop started at 1520 Cedric Ave, that DJ Kool Herc put on the first park jams, that his homeboy, this dude and this, you know, like, you know, every branch of history. When it comes to Canadian hip hop, we don't know fuck all, and I think that's the most important part to me. I
appreciate that.
Really uncovering the stories.
I appreciate that. Word up.
No doubt, man. But I did want to ask too, with you know, with that project with Hungry we were talking about. I noticed I could be incorrect, but that to me is the first time I seen you and Mercury's collab. Would I be incorrect on that?
Yep.
Yeah,
you're right.
And I'm just kind of curious how that relationship kind of formulated.
Well, I mean, I was rapping before Merc was rapping, but then I think it really formed because Hungry battled Merc when Merc was called Merc Mikes. That was his rap name.
Oh yeah.
Merc battled him. When I battled Charlie Feta here in King of the Dot in Vancouver, it was like the second King of the Dot, and he battled Merc and he beat Merc, and then you know, Merc started rolling around with Evil and Snack and just, you know, being out there basically and doing his thing, and that whole wave was like starting to really pop, and he was in the right place at the right time, you know what I mean, and dedicated dude. So I don't know. He started doing a bunch of shit. I think he dropped like the Bacon Bits EP, all this shit, Bacon over Hose or whatever. I don't even remember. But he was dropping some projects. He dropped some projects before Hungry and I were even a group. So he started dropping some projects, getting some love, touring, you know, underground rap tours, shit like that. And he was starting to kind of bubble a bit. And then the song was done, and then I think it was Hungry that hit up Merc, because Merc was like, yo, we should do some music. And we got him on that song. So I think that was Hungry's work.
Oh wow!
They battled, and then they just like, you know, whatever. And we were all at the same places, same skate parks, and hanging out and shit. So, but yeah, I think Hungry kind of like pushed that into existence.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the energy like in Van City, like at that time when that movement was so prominent, and like you guys were really catching, like the West Coast was really catching the attention of the rest of the country and really putting up the numbers that nobody else had. Thank you, baby.
Yeah.
Like what was that feeling like being there? You know, because we only seen it from our end of the country, right? But like, what was there like a feeling in the air that you know, when all that was kind of snowballing and transpiring?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was the hot ticket, right? That was the whole stomp down movement. Stomp down, effing snack was really popping. The graffiti writers were popping, and yeah, I mean, they just that was it. Like for underground rap, that was it. That was the pinnacle here. You know what I mean? And they were doing, and then they started working with Swollen. Snack started working with Swollen, and this and that, and just started getting bigger and bigger. And that was it. But I was never really to be honest, I was never really too focused on that, because I didn't really identify with that shit too much. I was like identifying with like American, like I was identifying with like Yellow Wolf and Burn One, and like that was the vibe that me and Hungry were on at that point. So we were like doing that double time shit. They weren't doing that double time shit. They were just like underground rap. You know what I mean? Like it was like, I don't know, in the spectrum of like Jedi Mind and Ill Bill and all these dudes, like, you know what I mean? But they were murdering it on that point, and like, you know, selling out shows, being wild, and just all.
I like to say like Apathy meets Onyx, kind of.
Pretty much, right? So it was that type of shit. Yeah. And then they linked up with Onyx and this and that, all. So it's just started growing and growing. No diss at all. That wasn't just my lane. That was my personal lane. That's why me and Hungry were like, all right, we're going to stick to this new age shit, because we're going to be the first dudes in Vancouver to do this type of shit. Clean, technical rap, like, and dressing a little bit different, you know what I mean? Not having the ski masks and the bats and shit. We're like a little bit cleaner. I was wearing fucking Italian soccer jerseys, and you know what I mean? Yeah, just like a little more clean looking, and I don't know. I guess that's what you call it. I'm not even trying to like praise myself. I was attracted to something different. We were like, yo, we're doing something different. Let's do that. And by doing that, we started our own little kind of subgenre where it's like we were the go-to duo to open every show. We opened for like 70 fucking, like one year we did like 30 openings in Vancouver, which is unheard of. Like what? 30 shows in the same city? Yellow Wolf came through, Ritz. We did a song with Ritz. Like we were doing all this, like we were fucking with basically Atlanta and the South, like music. That's the shit we were fucking with. But trappy shit, but we were rapping hard and like double time on it. And
yeah,
we just started our own little thing, you know what I mean? And people were coming out to our shows and fucking with us, and we became like a staple duo here. Even to this day, people are like, yo, you guys were crazy together on stage. Like, so we kind of had this way smaller fucking following. Those guys, their following is fucking nuts. But locally, we had a crazy, like, opposite following of what they were doing. We weren't even having the same fans. We were having like way completely different people coming to our shit. So it was cool, you know what I mean? But there wasn't any like animosity or anything. It was all love, and we were just doing our thing, and the respect was, you know, they were doing theirs and I was doing mine. And then later I kind of just bridged everything together, you know what I mean? So I started working with Snack in 2016, a couple of years after that. So yeah.
And I think it's interesting too what you said though, because when you put it like that, once again, you know, as an outsider looking in, it kind of shows where the scene was at that time. And you guys, to a sense, I don't know if you would accredit this yourself, if you, you know, but like just to me, from what I've just been told and like my view of like what I'm aware of the scene at the time, it's almost like you guys are kind of a trendsetter in yourselves then, because you guys went against what was the norm at that time, like the easy get on, and kind of built your own lane. And now actually a lot of guys from that realm are kind of experimenting more in that field as well now too. So you guys kind of almost in a sense are the trendsetters.
To be honest, I never felt like wanting to be part of the fucking popping thing ever in anything. You know what I mean? I was like, because then it's like, if I don't make the popping thing myself, then I'm just like riding dick. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And that's fine. It's like, I was never like stoked. I wanted to make my own shit. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just more authentic. And here I am. You know what I mean? And maybe if I would have got on earlier and just been like at all these Stomp Down shows, you know, like Merc was, he was a fan, bro, and he knew all the lyrics to Snack, rapping them front row and shit. That's how they got fucking together, those two. It's like Snack was like, yo, this fucking little fat kid is fucking rapping every lyric of mine. They hit the studio eventually, and then he became his hype man, and boom. So maybe if I was like more involved and like, yeah, this shit is crazy, and I'm like in a fan more, maybe my numbers would be bigger by now. My career would have been different, whatnot. But I just never liked to do that because I was always the guy doing shit differently, you know, like back freestyling as a 14-year-old in a club, blah, 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 doing everything myself, whatever. Battling, I was kind of just leading my own way. So, but then that way did make sense logically, again, years later, to link up with Snack. You know, he was starting Self Bomb, all this shit, and he's seen me around and blah, blah, blah. It's respected what I did. He was like, I thought you never liked me, man. I thought you were fucking hating on my shit. I was like, because, you know, when you're not around and you don't openly like, oh, these guys are the greatest.
You're not openly congratulatory.
So I was like, no, man, no.
Take it like you don't fuck with them.
Yeah, and it's like I can see how people could perceive that. You know what I mean? I feel that way too when people don't ever show me any love. I'm like, he must hate me or something. But then it's like tastes or whatever, and whatever. That's just petty shit. But no, and then we fucking. I guess one night I don't know what I was going on. It was a Royce the 5'9" show or something, and me and Snack were in the green room, and Kid Vicious, Royce's brother, was like. Snack was throwing me words and I was going off the head, and the fucking Royce's brother was like, what the fuck, bro? You're insane. And then the morning after, Snack's like, we got to work on something. And I was persistent. I hit him up. I made a solo record and I pitched it to him, and he's like, yeah, let's go. Let's fucking get you on board to this team and shit. And the rest was history, kind of. So.
Well, so there's.
Yeah, but I mean,
so much you just said right there that there's like so many points I actually want to go off of.
Sorry, man, my head is crazy.
No. It's great, man. It's great. If anything, all I'm saying is that, you know, eventually we might have to get a second interview in, because the way we're talking, well, I'm just going off stuff you're telling me. I'm not even digging into what I have prepared here, to be honest with you. But it's great dialogue, so that's what makes a great interview. But one thing you just said that I think is very key though is persistence, and a lot of dudes think. And you know what? I'm gonna write that down because there's a point off the last thing you're talking about that I just wanted to get off before we even go into a new realm. But it's funny what everything you just said is because I was actually gonna ask you a question. You kind of went to answer it anyways, but
I tend to do that.
You know, but the trend setting thing, right, and doing your own thing. And I was actually gonna ask if you felt that was important when you moved to Vancouver to separate yourself, because you identified when you moved here, identifying with hip hop was kind of a way to be different and be in your own realm. So that I was actually going to ask if that was a conscious thing that you found was important and integral to yourself to do by moving to Van, to be like, I'm not going to do what everyone else is doing per se. I need to do my own thing, because like you had that need to still connect with, you know, with being a standout person. And when you move somewhere and there's so many people doing this thing and it has a scene, you're like, okay, well now I have to find another way to freak it to be my own individual in this realm. Like,
I don't know if I was conscious of that, to be honest, but I did it. And I mean, now you can ask any circle of whatever any circle you can ask here. No one's going to say that, you know, they don't respect what I do, and that they don't, you know, that my respect for the craft and how I did it and just stuck to my own shit is like, that's appreciated by everyone now, right? So it's like, maybe I didn't get catapulted into some fucking, you know, paradigm of like success earlier on or whatever, but I have the respect now because I did all the groundwork by myself, no handouts, no nothing, you know what I mean? It's like, I just battled my way until I got to a level of respect, and then the heads like Snacks, and then they were like, okay. And then I started, you know, making music, focusing on that and doing good music and getting better and shit. And like I said, persistence of doing your own shit and being persistent is, in the long run, you're going to just have the upper winning hand. I don't know if I was consciously doing it, bro, to be honest. I can't give you the honest answer to that, but I did it, and I'm glad I did, because now it's like everybody fucks with me. You know what I mean? Like everyone fucks with me. And that's just because I always stuck to my own self and just never. But then also some people thought I hated them because I never reached out to them or showed any love. So it's like, fuck it. So it's like I now I consciously reach out to people that I may not even like their music that much, but I like how hard they work, and and how positive they are in other areas and shit like that. So I reach out to them and give them the love, and I'll, you know, share their stuff or their business and whatnot. So it's like, it's key to support people. That's, I do interact heavy with people because I don't want people to think I'm like on another fucking level or cooler than them or some shit, because that can also hurt you. You know, if I would have had that mentality maybe 15 years ago, maybe I'd be much bigger now.
Could be further.
So, and maybe it'd be further ahead. Maybe not. Maybe I'd be fucking worse off because I'd be more of a yes man back then or something. Who knows? But it's a good mentality to have for sure. So yeah, persistence is fucking key, bro, for sure.
Well, and it's funny that you actually said that, because that's exactly the point I was going to jump on too, was that you talking about the snack collab and him being like, yo, we should work, and you're like, yo, I was persistent on it. And I think that's a key thing, and it goes exactly to what you were just talking about before I even made the roundabout there. But like, artists, we get so encaptured in our fucking egos, and then when we're able to let go of our egos, we're worried about what other people will think about us. So it's not even our ego. Now it's appeasing to not look like a fucking bitch to everybody else or look like a fucking dick sucker to everybody else. So we stay in these little fucking lanes, in these little pockets, and we just kind of stick to ourselves and try to build everything by ourselves. And then when you finally make enough noise and other people start to show appreciation, like, okay, cool. And then you start to show appreciation to people, and then you start to learn, you're like, damn, if I was doing this the last 10 years, imagine where the fuck I'd be now.
Facts. So that's key. Super key, bro. Fuck me. Yeah. Absolutely. Can't say it better myself.
The one thing I could say is that any up and coming artist, don't become a victim to your own ego. That shit will kill you quicker than fucking anything. You're better off being a fucking cokehead or a fucking some sort of severe drug addict and keeping a successful career than falling victim to the addiction of your ego, bro. Like, that's for real.
Facts, bro. That's super true. Fuck. A lot of people fall victim to that, man. You know. Fuck. And
they go fucking nowhere, man. Or they get to a certain place and plateau because they're too cool for fucking anything, bro. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you this. I tried. No, I'm not gonna put no one on blast. But put it this way: when rappers try to get me to toss them a band for an interview, I laugh. I'm like, bro, I don't pay nobody for an interview. So if that's where you value yourself, that's cool. But that's why you're at where you're at. You know what I mean? And
for sure. It's a two-way street.
Yeah, ego will kill you, man. But the jewel I was really trying to get out of what you said, though, was the persistence part, and the fact that, you know, you're like, I stayed on him, I hit him with this joint. And I think that's the other thing, is we get so engulfed in our ego, we're scared to ask for a favor. We're scared to ask somebody, you know, even if it's something they already said they would do, we're scared to follow up. You know what I mean? We feel like they should follow up. Oh, he said it. Why? You're like, dudes gotta let their fucking balls out of their fucking hands sometimes and just fucking do what's best for them and stop worrying about all this fucking over masculine fucking egotistical nonsense, bro.
Bro, this happened to me on this album with Stitch. It happened to me. I was like, I mean, first of all, I'm the one who hit him up. I fucking seen some clip, I don't know, early 2019. Of him rapping somewhere in some basement or something. I'm like, what the fuck, this guy? And I only heard Stitch's name one time before that. And me and Hungry were locked in to battle Young Stitch in Payday in Vancouver fucking almost 10 years ago. They no-showed 5 days. They're like, we're not coming 5 days before the fucking battle. So me and Hungry are like, what? We prepared this crazy 2-on-2 battle. It was nuts. And then they bailed. It's all good. I just hung out with Payday when Stitch was here shooting videos and shit. He flew out, hang out, it's all good. We laughed about this shit. So I was like, this is the last time I heard about Stitches. He was the guy that fucking no-showed us. So I checked out this clip. He was bodying it, and I was like, whoa, holy fuck. I hit him up. I'm like, bro, we were supposed to battle. We laughed about it then, and was like, your shit's nice, bro. And I just checked his shit, and then I'm like, yo, we need to do something. Like, we need to do something. He's like, yeah, let's fucking do something for sure. I see you working out there too, bro. Like, fuck, your shit's crazy, blah, blah, blah. Reciprocal love. Then I sent him No Ragu. I had my fucking verse on it done. He sent his back. Anyway, so that's how we connected. But then this happened to me with Stitch because, you know, oh, fuck, he's crazy. Like, on his punchline game is nuts. So I was like, fuck, I got to come certain way or maybe people won't like my shit as much. You know, I was having, and I'm like, but then I was like, hold on a minute. It's like, I know I'm good. It's fine. You know what I mean? But I had that fucking same train of thought where I'm like, oh man, I don't know, dude. Is this gonna hurt? And what if I don't come as correct as he does? Who people are gonna fucking? And I was like, I just shook that shit off though. I was like, no, fuck that. And I went in, and Stitch is like, dude, are you nuts? This shit is insane the way you're coming with at me. Like, he's like, every 3 days you're sending me like 4 songs with the craziest verses and hooks, and he's like, I'm fucking rattled. I'm thinking the same way you are, and I'm like, okay, glad we're both thinking this way, but. Just to put it in perspective, like that shit happened to me this year, bro. So like it happens, you know what I mean?
That's amazing though, man. You know what? And I think that's important too, is that, you know, when you don't have someone to spar with, sometimes it's not that you lose motivation, but sometimes you enable yourself to get a little too experimental. And I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm just talking about as an artist. When you don't have someone like in the corner that you're like continuously sparring with and always trying to one up and do better than out of like a brotherly love, sometimes you kind of like go off the deep end, you know what I mean? Start making like, you know, I find I've made the worst songs of my life and the weirdest songs of my life when I haven't had someone who's kind of given me a competitive nature to keep up with. You know what I mean? But I think that's really dope that you said that, because even though you're on the West Coast, you're doing your thing, you got your buzz. He's over here, he's got his buzz. It might not be quite as big, but he's doing his thing.
No, dude, it's his. I mean, yeah, whatever. That's all objective, really. But yeah.
No, that's all subjective. But I just mean I'm talking about at the time, like, because he's come a long way in the last year and a half too. You know what I mean? From like I'm talking about at this point. I don't know exactly what your buzz was at the time, but I know that you were ringing some bells over here and stuff. So I can only take things in where I see it at my face value.
No, for sure.
But like to me, like you're kind of, the way I would have viewed it was you're a little bit kind of big homie in the situation. You guys are pretty close, you know, but you're a little bit big homie in the situation in my eyes from where I would have been looking at it. But for you to be like, yo, he's making me question my pen every track, and he's keeping me like, that's the important thing, you know what I mean? I think that's the most exciting thing about the album.
I'm not even tripping, and I'll say that out loud, like, but at the same time, that competitiveness in both of us, and he's telling me the same shit. He's like, you fucking crazy, you bodied me on this song, fucking I'm redoing my verse, you know. We've had a lot of these conversations, trust me. And then and we're like, but now that album is like, we're both like, you know, trying to like basically like this, but in a like united way. So it's just made the album that much more fire. Oh, you want to have a 17-syllable fucking double time tear? I'll do a 24-syllable. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, it just made the album that much better, that competitiveness. But if you use that competitiveness to your advantage, the album just went from here to here, like in quality. You know what I mean? It's like word. And that's what you were saying. Like if you're sparring with, like, Nas needs a Jay-Z and Jay-Z needs a Nas to be where they're at. You know what I mean? Not comparing myself, but it's just that mentality. Like, it is what it is. You need a good opponent if you want to fucking test yourself, you know? And that's where this Lions Eat Goats album is at. That's the name of the album, Lions Eat Goats. So.
Well, and I find most great MCs, when they don't have someone in their circle who they can continuously spar with, they'll find other people to spar with, whether those people know they're sparring or not. Like, it's the reason why after the Nas and Jay thing, Jay's subliminally dissing people every album of his career ever since then, except for me, even on 444. You know what I mean? It's like, he needs someone to still spar with. You know, like as an MC, you need a threshold and a point to where you're like, I'm trying to be better than this. You know what I mean? Like, I would be lying if I said as an MC, you and Stitch weren't on my threshold for who I'm trying to be better than. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how you have to be as an MC. But without you guys, it goes back to what I said before. You guys gave me the inspiration to actually kind of start rapping again. Dudes like you guys. Because I'm like, people care about rapping.
That's sick.
You know what I mean? So that's exactly what it is. You need someone to spar with, whether they're conscious that you're sparring or not. You need that. And so when you have someone in your circle you can do it with, you're going to create the best music you've ever fucking made. You know what I mean? And I think you two are perfect fucking sparring partners. So I'm excited to hear this fucking album.
This shit is stupid, bro. I can't. It's fucking crazy, bro.
I'm excited to hear this, man. Because you guys are both monsters. And for you guys to be sharpening each other's sword like that, and like just you telling me the process behind it, it's like, okay, I know. Not only am I ready for some different shit now, but I know I'm ready for you guys to be anteing up on each other on each joint, and that's
But we're leveling up. We leveled up here musically as artists, both, in my opinion. I mean, that's our combos, dude. We talk every day, me and Stitch, and we're like, the hardest part now is like, dude, this shit's been done. We're like, good it out, like, you know what I mean? Like, come on. But it's coming next week. Next week, the rollout starts next week, so it's heavy.
So we're back on the record. All right. Well, Junk, man, I appreciate your time very much, man. I'm looking forward for the project with Stitch. So we're gonna get into it, once we wrap this up right here. But we got just tell us what you can let the people know as of right now about the Lions Eat Goats project. I don't know if you could tell us the date, any of that stuff, but let us know what you can let us know before we let you go on that.
The date is end of January. Things are going to start happening. Heavy things are going to start happening. But like I said kind of before, this project is like maybe the pinnacle of like my ability on multiple levels for me personally, and Stitch has said the same thing to me. So I think this is our best version of ourselves with our craft on one record for both of us together. So you're gonna get like the best versions of us both, and you're gonna be really, anyone that listens to it is not gonna hear an album that they expect. I'll tell you that for sure. And the beats are just insane, banging beats. Shout out to everybody. I honestly don't want to say too much, man, but
I feel you.
Snack's on the album, Known is on the album, DRX doing cuts, Imperative, my dog, producing, Alja from Out Your Guys' Ways, producing a shit ton of tracks on this album. The guy's insane. Starcore has joints on it, and my guy Ivan Townsend from out here. Beautiful production. Jamie Hughes is crazy. Every feature is dope. Everything is Stealth Bomb. Like, all the features are all Stealth Bomb household names. So yeah, man, I think it's going to shake things up, and I think it's going to push the envelope of lyrical rappers, what they can do, where they can stay true to their craft and their like integrity, but also push the envelope and use that lyrical ability to say things in a manner that may be considered trappy or really poppy, not corny poppy, but in a way that's like just the norm digestible of digestible, but like the norm of the sonic wave right now, but with our own spin, with like keeping the integrity of our lyrical ability and the importance of that. So I think it's a big gumbo pot of everything done really well. It's not like they can rap good, but that hook is, I don't like it. Nah. Let me tell you, there's no off-putting melody. Melodies check, bars check, punchlines check, back and forth check, faster rap check, slower rap check, female stuff for girls, stuff for dudes. There's everything on there. It's a full spectrum. We hit it all. So that's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's the album that you didn't know you wanted to hear, is what I should say. That's it. That's what I want to say.
You know what? I love to hear that, man, because the way I've seen you talking about it online and the way I've seen him talking about it online, there's one thing. With lyrical rappers, especially ones who actually get some respect, it's very easy for them to be like, yo, this is the illest shit you ever heard. And they'll say that about everything they drop, and you'll be like, okay, you start taking it with a grain of salt. You're like, is it the dopest shit I'm ever going to hear, though? But after you and him have both said that, and now you've I've heard you explain the project. I'm like, yo, I think these guys mean it when they say that. This isn't just your rapper rhetoric.
We do. And I know people are like, I've done that. But I really believe that. I haven't done that too much. It's like, obviously, I think every project should be your best work.
Yeah.
With craftsmanship, sound, investment, effort, all that stuff. Why not? Like why are you getting worse? You know,
you should be constantly growing.
But in all honesty, I think just the competitiveness of us both being like, you know, he sent me a verse and I'd be like, fuck this motherfucker, I gotta do better than this. So it's like, okay. Or I'd send him a verse and he's like got my verse in his headphones for a week and he's just like studying on how to body me on the track, and vice versa. So it's like that competitive nature is just, it's just like, here's my verse, here's his, boom, boom, boom. We just go back and forth, and it's just like, okay, bro, well, that's why we're both like, this is the best shit we've made, because we're like, we had to make it that good just to compete with the other dude. So it's like, it was a natural competitive progression, and it's just like, Yeah, we're ready to drop it now, bro. I'm losing sleep over like my anxiety over having to release this. So that's it. Lions Eat Goat, come into a theater near you.
The rap nerd in me is fucking so excited to hear that shit, man. I'm looking forward to hearing this project, man. And Junk, I can't thank you enough for your time, my G. I appreciate
you, man. Like I said, thank you for digging and caring about the craft and the history, man. It's really important. You know what I mean? So bless you, bro, and respect, man. I got nothing but love for you, bro.
No doubt, man. I look forward to us being able to continue this. You know, there's many stones unturned in your history so far. We just covered the early Easter eggs. You know what I mean? So there's a lot
we can
more.
do one. Hopefully we can do one like face to face.
In person, yeah. Ideally, you know, those are always the best. But I mean, you know, we'll see where the world's at. We'll see where the world's at and take it from there. But yeah, hopefully, man, by the end of the year at least or something, you know, the world can open up a bit more and we can, we come through the radio station and we'll do it real proper.
Yeah, man.
You and Stitch together, you know what I mean? We do it something like that too. That could be fun too.
That would be
Stitch
sick.
is the homie, man. So you know, something like that's always possible too, you know.
For sure.
But you know, if I don't talk to you, but I know I will be about getting songs, but I just want to say publicly anyways, I wish you the most success with this project and I'm looking forward to it too.
Yo, just like the logo on my sweater. Thank you, bro.
Hey, no doubt, my man.